If you're watching this, 2020 is officially behind us, and we've made it to 2021. It's not like all the world's problems will have evaporated, but psychologically it's nice to get some distance away from what was widely considered to be an absolute dumpster fire of a year. Hopefully this video will give you some things to look forward to in the coming months.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
A year ago, I posted my video of the most anticipated movies of 2020, and let's just say I was overly optimistic. A new and promising year of cinema is upon us once again. In fact, of the 10 films on my list last year, only 4 were actually released. You can expect to see the others come up in this video. Nobody could have foreseen what the pandemic would do to the film industry, with a record number of release dates pushed and a mass shutdown of theaters not seen since the birth of cinema. The future of movie theaters is still up in the air, but one way or another, producers and distributors are finding ways to reach their audiences. And so, here's my personal 10 most anticipated movies of 2021. Please note, I'm only picking films that I believe have a good chance of debuting and have moved past the pre-production phase. Stick around to the end for a whole slew of honorable mentions and a few films that would have made the list if I actually thought they were going to be released. Also, I've enlisted the help of a fellow YouTuber on the rise to help me with the countdown. Take it away, David.
10.
The Green Knight. Adapted from the 14th century poem Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, this is an R-rated medieval fantasy starring Dev Patel as Sir Gawain, the nephew of King Arthur, played here by Sean Harris. He embarks on a quest to confront the eponymous Green Knight, played by Ralph Ineson. As incredible as the trailer looks, my confidence resides in writer-director David Lowery, whose quartet of features from the last decade, Ain't Them Body Saints, Pete's Dragon, A Ghost Story, and The Old Man and the Gun, made him one of the most exciting directors to emerge in the 2010s. Here's hoping we'll finally be able to see it on the big screen this summer. Heck, I'm so excited for this film, I bought the tabletop RPG that A24 put out for it.
9.
Nightmare Alley. This remake of the 1947 film noir of the same name stars Bradley Cooper as a carnival mentalist who has mastered the art of manipulation. He joins forces with a psychiatrist played by the great Cate Blanchett to swindle the unsuspecting. Nightmare Alley is Guillermo del Toro's follow-up to his Best Picture-winning film The Shape of Water. Here's hoping he can continue mining old Hollywood into something dark and dazzling. And if that wasn't enough to convince you, perhaps the rest of the stacked cast will.
8.
Blonde. This is an imagining of the life of Marilyn Monroe, adapted from the Joyce Carol Oates novel of the same name. Monroe, aka Norma Jean, will be played by the talented and alluring Ana de Armas, who is slated to have a big year between this becoming a Bond girl in No Time to Die and the next long-anticipated erotic thriller from Adrian Lyne, Deep Water, opposite Ben Affleck, who she is now quarantining with, if you catch my drift. Celebrity gossip aside, the reason I'm most excited for this film is that it's Australian writer-director Andrew Dominik's first scripted film in the better part of a decade, and if you've seen his Western masterpiece, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, you'll probably understand the anticipation. In an interview with Collider, Dominik himself said he thinks Blonde will be one of the 10 best films ever made. God grant us all Andrew Dominik's confidence.
7.
Mission Impossible 7. I am a huge fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. For the first 5 outings, I loved seeing what unique qualities the change of directors brought to the table. But star and producer Tom Cruise bucked that trend when he rejoined writer-director Christopher McQuarrie for a second serving in 2018's jaw-dropping Mission Impossible Fallout, the most successful and critically acclaimed film in the series to date. It makes complete sense then that Paramount would go ahead and announce the 7th and 8th installments, with McQuarrie not only returning to write and direct both films, but shooting them back to back. And if the recent leaked audio from the set is any indication, they are taking it very seriously.
If I see it again, you're going.
What this means is we're getting a new Mission Impossible this fall and another one next fall, which you can bet your soggy bottom I'll be including on my list of the most anticipated films of 2022, when Tom Cruise will reach the ripe age of 60. It begs the question, how long can he possibly maintain this insane trajectory of one-upsmanship? I mean, he's already teaming up with SpaceX and NASA to shoot the first narrative feature in space on a separate project. What's he going to do in Mission Impossible 7? Cut off his own arm and then eat it while balancing on the nose of a polar bear? I don't know. All I know is I'm going to keep watching Tom Cruise borderline snuff films as long as he keeps making them. He actually broke his ankle there.
6.
Annette. The last time we saw a film from French director Léos Carax was all the way back in 2012 with Holy Motors, one of the year's best films, chock full of images and moments that I've thought about countless times in the intervening years. After nearly a decade of waiting, his next film is on the horizon. A musical about a stand-up comedian, played by Adam Driver, his opera singer wife, played by Marion Cotillard, and their 2-year-old daughter with a surprising gift. I have no idea what to expect, but I can only hope it will be as impactful as his previous work.
5.
The French Dispatch. This marks Anderson's first live-action film since 2014's The Grand Budapest Hotel, which just might be his best film, setting the anticipation level of his fanbase dangerously high. Set in a fictional 20th century French city, because Wes Anderson, this will feature a collection of stories from the eponymous magazine and is reportedly a love letter to journalists. I can only imagine the discourse and hot takes that film critics will be filing for this one. The trailer showcases a barrage of vignettes and stars, including Anderson alums and first-time collaborators alike. I feel like I say this with each subsequent Wes Anderson film, but this looks like the most Wes Anderson film yet.
4.
The Way of the Wind. Simply put, Terrence Malick is responsible for some of the most powerful film experiences I have ever had, with 2011's The Tree of Life topping my list of the last decade. Since that film's release, between Night of Cups and Song to Song, I feared that Malick had lost his touch, but he brought me back with 2019's blisteringly beautiful A Hidden Life. I realized that Malick's musings are a better fit for period pieces, which bodes well for The Way of the Wind, as it imagines chapters from the life of Christ. Geza Rohrig plays Jesus opposite Mark Rylance, who reportedly plays 4 different versions of Satan. Malick has long been prospecting spiritual spheres, so to see him tackle the most influential and debated religious figure seems like a match made in, well, heaven.
3.
Dune. Frank Herbert's epic sci-fi novel Dune is a dense account of noble houses fighting over the spice, an invaluable resource of an otherwise inhospitable desert planet. Readers young and old have wrestled with its pages since its release in 1965, but that literary plight pales in comparison to the ambitious filmmakers who have attempted to bring Herbert's saga to the screen. See the fascinating documentary Jodorowsky's Dune for one auteur's failed attempt, and see Countdown maestro David Lynch's infamous adaptation for another. Enter Denis Villeneuve, whose meteoric rise with films like Prisoners, Sicario, and Arrival was truly something to behold. Then, in 2017, he delivered a sequel nobody was asking for in Blade Runner 2049, and sweet Scott, it was arguably in league with the original. Not to mention the perfect audition for a staggering sci-fi project like Dune. Timothée Chalamet stars as Paul Atreides amidst the likes of Zendaya, Charlotte Rampling, Josh Brolin, Oscar Isaac, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, and Jason Momoa. If any film on this list demands to be seen on the big screen, it's this one, which makes Warner Brothers' decision to release it day and date on HBO Max all the more baffling. I'm skeptical whether that decision will hold by the time of its scheduled October release date, but in any case, cinephiles should be able to opt for a cinematic experience.
2.
The Northmen. In my power rankings of the best filmmakers to emerge in the 2010s, Robert Eggers is in the running for the top spot. Between The Witch and The Lighthouse, he's proven to be a formidable craftsman of folktales. He aims to keep that streak alive with The Northmen, a Viking revenge saga set in Iceland at the turn of the 10th century. He's reteaming with the witches Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Ineson, and Kate Dickie, and even more exciting, the old wiki himself and current patron saint of Cineflect, Willem Dafoe. Rounding out the cast are the likes of Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, and they somehow even convinced Bjork to make a return to acting, playing an Icelandic witch. Yeah, that must be a real stretch for her. Eggers wrote the screenplay alongside renowned Icelandic poet Sjan, and will be re-teaming with the now Oscar-nominated cinematographer Jarin Blaschke. I am beyond stoked for what Eggers and team have in store for us. I'm expecting it to be bold, beautiful, and brutal. In the meantime, I'll be amping myself up and getting my Viking fix in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
1.
Soggy Bottom. Look, Paul Thomas Anderson is possibly the greatest writer-director working today. Whenever he has a new film slated for release, it's going to be my most anticipated. It's that simple. Soggy Bottom, which is the current working title, sees PTA returning to the 1970s, an era he tilled with inherent vice, focusing on a high school student who becomes a famous child actor. The lead is played by first-time actor Cooper Hoffman, son of the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman, a former frequent collaborator of Anderson's. Bradley Cooper, Benny Safdie, and Alana Hayam co-star. Whatever PTA serves up, and whenever he does, I'll be there.
Molto bene keiko. Molto bene keiko. Hai. Hai. Hai.
Those are my 10 most anticipated movies of 2021, but I have a bevy of honorable mentions to quickly run through. Films that just missed the cut include Ruben Östlund's Triangle of Sadness, Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, Joel Coen's Macbeth, and the 25th Bond film Cary Fukunaga's No Time to Die. I'm also looking forward to seeing Pixar's Luca, Ridley Scott's The Last Duel, M. Night Shyamalan's Old, George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Steven Soderbergh's No Sudden Move, Adam McKay's Don't Look Up, Taika Waititi's Next Goal Wins, Jacques Audiard's Les Olympiades, Apichatpong Weerasethakul's Memoria, Adrian Lynn's Deep Water, Claire Denis' Radioscopy, Jean-Pierre Jeunette's Big Bug, Paul Verhoeven's Benedetta, Paul Schrader's The Card Counter, and almost everything on A24's upcoming slate. Finally, films that would have absolutely made my list if I honestly believed they were coming out in 2021 include Damien Chazelle's Babylon, Park Chan-wook's Decision to Leave, James Gray's Armageddon Time, Jonathan Glazer's next project, and, of course, Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. Those are my personal 10 most anticipated movies of 2021, and honorable mentions. I'm sure your list looks different, and I invite you to share it in the comments below. I'll see you down there. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe to Cineflect for film lists, video essays, and more, and click that bell next to the subscribe button if you'd like to be notified anytime I upload a new video. For Cineflect, I'm JS Lewis. Until next time, watch something good.